Now, what's the best deer hunting parcel size? There's a lot of arguments can be made. I'm sure we'd all like to, if someone gave us a free 1,000-acre parcel to hunt and it was great quality property, that'd be pretty cool. But I want to talk about wasted acres and areas needed that's dependent on your skill set, for example. And really, what is that average great parcel size that you can tap into a really, really good hunt in a great area? Now I'm going to point out this little graph right here. First is bigger better? You know, look at it that way. And not necessarily. You look at this graph right here. Look at the buck herd value over here, meaning you're tapping into a specific buck herd. And then you have the number of acres down the bottom, 20 over to 500 acres. And what I look at is you only need 5 acres, 40 acres, 30, 20, depending on the area, to tap into a specific buck herd in that area. Meaning that parcel, if attractive enough, will have and share most of those mature bucks in the area during daylight if you hunt it well, if you manage your time, if you manage your sits well. It's not going to, with a small parcel, allow you to tap into that buck herd in that area if you don't manage your sits well, if you don't hunt on good days, and if you hunt poorly. The bottom line, if you do hunt well and manage your sits and do everything, you're going to find that when you get up into that 40 to 120 acres around there, you're going to be able to tap into the area buck herd. And as the number of acres increases past that point, your value per acre and the overall value per acre that you're buying and paying for is wasted and diminishes. Because you really can tap into that one buck herd right there. More acres allows more control. But bottom line is there's a sweet spot in there. And I look at it like in most areas, in ag areas, that area is smaller, that number of acres needed. Ag area is easier to manage. And in big wooded areas where there's fewer deer and not as great of deer hunting, then you're gonna need a lot more acres because deer are used to moving a lot more. You need far fewer acres in areas where deer are sandwiched into small pieces of cover during the daylight, like coverless ag regions, than you do wilderness areas. But think about that. I had a question, and I'm kind of jumping the gun down to number 3 here, but a client a long time ago asked me, you know, they looked at a parcel size and he had a recommendation of sale, so I went out and looked at the parcel just like I would my normal daily fee. A lot of people say that, well, I'm just giving a recommendation of sale, so it's going to be cheaper for my daily fee. And because it's still a day. It's still a day. We're turning over 2,000 clients this year, and it's still a day that I have to turn away a client. So whether it takes me 6 hours, 5 hours, or 10 hours, it's still a day. A day is a day. I can't schedule anybody else that day. I don't do online consultations, phone consultations, because they're inappropriate for landowners. They guide people in the wrong direction. Irresponsible as a professional deer manager who probably does the most deer parcels in the most states per year compared to anybody. It's just not appropriate. So, but bottom line is, that person asked me, you know, it was a $1.5 million purchase, whatever it was, and I said, I think you'd be better off having separate deer parcel, 40 to 80 acres in Iowa, Wisconsin, and Illinois, than you would owning this giant parcel that only allows you to shoot a buck or two in Illinois. And you can get multiple tags, multiple states. That's what we're trying to do here. I have a small parcel in Wisconsin that I lease, and I have a parcel here that I own at the house. And in Minnesota, Wisconsin allows me to skip back and forth. And hey, someday I might have a parcel in South Dakota or Northeast Nebraska, who knows. But I like having those separate tags. But at bottom line, it allows me to tap into different buck herds. And sometimes smaller is better when you hit that sweet spot. And it might even be that you're buying multiple parcels in one state. They're scattered enough to where you're outside. Let's say in most ag regions, once you get 2 miles outside, you're not really overlapping mature bucks too much, especially if you're doing it right and you're building your property right. But think about that sweet spot. Think about excess acreage, and you really don't need a lot of acres. And number one, what's interesting is the lower your skill set for deer hunting and deer management, the more acres you're going to need to capture that sweet spot. Does that make sense? A lot of acres, you know, if you're hunting with an ATV, you're hunting invasively, you're hunting on poor days, you're not managing your sits well, you need hundreds of acres, if not over 1,000, to encompass your mistakes as a hunter, meaning the bucks just get pushed around on that parcel. Maybe you never shoot them, maybe you don't have a really good, maybe you hunt them, maybe you shoot them because you have so many acres, but bottom line is there's a lot of room on that parcel to encompass your mistakes and keep deer on that parcel without spooking them onto the neighbors. The higher the skill set that you have for deer hunting and deer management and putting a good plan in place, the fewer acres you're going to need. Your sweet spot is going to be a lot fewer acres. I see a lot of, we're in an area right here where we have, you know, there's some 900 acre parcels, 1,100 acres, 1,500 acres, 2,000 acres, and I don't think they really kill on an average that many more deer than we did in our first year on the 178 acres here. It just depends on how you hunt it, how much you want it, and really what you put into it. And bottom line, you get down here to number 3, where I truly believe that 380 acre parcels separated by 2 to 3 miles or more in the same spot is more valuable than one 240 acre parcel in the same area. You'll always have 2 or 3 of those parcels working for you at any one time with a certain mature buck. You'll be able to tap into various mature bucks, different buck herds, by getting those parcels separated by 2 miles or more, and really look at that for leasing land, buying land, and even if you're hunting public land, I'd rather have 3 or 4 good sits over here, maybe an hour away, 2 hours away, have some good sits over there, some good sits over here, and you develop a network where you have parcels and hunting public land parcels that are separated by enough distance that allows you to tap into different buck herds, and that way you always have something working for you. What's the best hunting land size? Boy, it could be several hundred acres in a big wilderness parcel. It could be 20 acres in a coverless ag region where all the bucks get poured into that parcel because there's no other cover and they don't have an option. But think about that sweet spot. Think about the wasted acres. And think about if you improve your hunting skill set and your deer management skill set, you can get away with a lot fewer acres compared to someone else that's hunting invasively, hunting with too much hunting pressure. And the cool thing is you can always find a better spot to hunt somewhere else. I'd prefer, myself personally, I have some friends that come down from the UP in Michigan, Skip and Joe, and they had a really good parcel to hunt. And what they found was that if they lost that one parcel and they didn't have some other irons in the fire, they were kind of lost, and they kind of expanded to several parcels that they could hunt. And that way they always have 2 or 3 parcels that carry over to the next year. And even if they're small, you know, even tiny little parcels, and they're always networking and trying to find new parcels on the horizon. And you can do that, you know, you can find those spots. And so don't be discouraged. Don't feel like, boy, I don't have 500 acres. I don't have 200 acres. I don't have 100 acres. You know, I can't have a good hunt. Well, you surely can. Need to hit that sweet spot, improve your game, improve the skill set. And really, it's hard to answer what's the perfect hunting size because that depends on you, that depends on the area. But it's a lot fewer acres than you probably think, and I hope you find the perfect hunting parcel going into this next fall and this next hunting season in 2021.
Now, as we transition into habitat season, I hope you've had a chance to check out my web class, How to Design Your Whitetail Parcel. It's on my website, whitetailhabitatsolutions.com. I have a link in the description, and I hope you can find it, check it out, and enjoy it this year.